Hi, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you've had a great day. Today, I want to focus on attachment styles, and I think this is so important to understand and learn because it really helps us to see where we are experiencing difficulty in our relationships once we can get a sense of what our attachment style is. Sometimes people experience a lot of conflict, a lot of distance, a lot of insecurities in their relationships, and they have no idea that all of this has to do with their attachment style. And what is attachment? Well, just to put it in simple terms, attachment is the way that we feel attached. It's how we feel secure, safe, loved, and known in our relationships. And in order to feel securely and safely attached, we need to experience this ourselves, and this starts in infancy. So when a baby is born, the world is devastating, right? Coming out of that nurturing and comfortable environment inside the womb is very stressful, and babies cling to their mothers for survival and for nurturance. And so if you have a mother or a caretaker that has consistently been there for you throughout infancy and has consistently changed your diapers, consistently fed you, consistently held you when you cried, and was there for you in predictable ways, that starts to foster secure attachment. And it's most likely that you do have a secure attachment. And this doesn't just need to happen in infancy, though. This needs to carry on all throughout, being a toddler, then going to grade school, then being in early adolescence and late adolescence. So studies show that adults who experience secure attachment throughout their lives in their family tend to have securely attached romantic relationships. So the four main attachment styles that have been studied, and we can attribute all of this great knowledge to John Bowlby, who is known as the father of attachment. Those four attachment styles are securely attached, anxiously attached, avoidant attachment style, and disorganized attachment style. So the securely attached child will feel confident in that they know their parent is going to be there for them unconditionally. They have more freedom to explore and to play and tend to feel more accepted by their parents. They feel like their parents are a safe place to go to, and they feel like they are cherished and supported even through difficult times. They experience this, and as adults, they go on and find partners that resemble what their parents gave them for the most part. And right now you can search several studies that point to the correlation between our attachment style in childhood and in adulthood, and they tend to be pretty similar. So the anxiously attached child is just that. They're anxious, they're clingy, they're needy, they don't feel safe, they're not sure if mom and dad are going to be there. They might have been harshly criticized or reprimanded. As an infant, the parent wasn't very predictable, wasn't consistent with the nurturing and the caregiving. So these children tend to crave more intimacy. They tend to be more dependent on their parents, less of an independent type of personality. And they tend to grow up to be people that need more validation and more affirming by others. And they tend to have a difficult time feeling loved by others. And that's because they usually suffer from feelings of low self-worth. They might not feel like they can trust others. And it's very indicative of the way that the parent, the caregiver, was there for them, or wasn't really there for them in such a consistent way. These same kind of behaviors will definitely come up in your relationship. And that might look like, feeling like you need to constantly call, your husband, or your wife, or feeling like they can never tell you how much they love you. It's almost like it's never enough because it's hard for you to believe it, right? And we can see that this stems from feelings of low self-worth and not really feeling like you're accepted or loved unconditionally. This results in you becoming overly dependent in your relationships and needing your relationships to be okay all of the time, because if there's even a slight deviation or a slight misunderstanding, your anxiety will flare up again because you're so anxiously attached. You are so fearful of losing this relationship. The person with avoidant attachment tends to be more independent. They tend to want to work things out on their own. They tend to turn away from their partner when there is high levels of intimacy, emotional intimacy, and conversations about feelings and wanting to get to know one another on a deeper level. The person who is avoidant has a difficult time understanding that the other person really cares for them. They have a hard time experiencing meaningful, long-lasting relationships with people, and they tend to push people away. So it's not that they don't want these type of loving relationships. It's just that they don't know how to access their emotions and sit with their emotions and reciprocate that emotional back and forth with someone. And that's because they did not receive that when they were children. The avoidant attached individual would have a parent that basically ignores them when they're feeling difficult emotions, moves away from them when they are in need, tends to feel bothered by their child when their child is experiencing some type of heartache or feeling let down by someone else at school, or any kind of highly emotional experience that their child will have. The parent tends to avoid and not want to attend to that child's need, right? So they won't sit with the child and go through their emotions and say things like, oh, why did you feel that way? What's going on? And tell me a little bit more about what this friend did. And why do you think that you feel that way? Well, what do we need to do to feel better? Right? The parent won't get down to that level with the child. And it's mostly because the parent can't access their own emotional reserve. People that have avoidant attachment will be at a distance. So they'll keep you close and they'll interact when it comes to having fun and, socializing and more of the superficial things. But they have a real hard time tolerating feelings like sadness, fear, and, deep levels of excitement or joy when it comes to those deep core feelings that we have. So they'll definitely struggle with that and will tend to push others away just so that they won't have to deal with the anxiety of needing to access emotions that they don't know how to access. They don't know how to be or sit in those emotions. It's just too overwhelming for them. Next attachment style is disorganized attachment style, and basically, we've gone over anxious and avoidant attachment, and the disorganized style is disorganized in the sense where they might fluctuate from being anxiously attached to avoidant. And that looks like someone who can be very clingy at one point and then will start to avoid their partner, their spouse, and it tends to fluctuate in an unpredictable way. In both instances, the person is struggling with their emotions and have a very hard time regulating themselves to the point where they can have a conversation and sit with these emotions. And so think of that type of disorganized style as a combination between the avoidant and the anxiously attached. And so this tends to be very confusing for the person who's in a relationship with someone that has this type of attachment style. It's really important to understand that if our attachment style is not secure, there's a high probability that we experienced very consistent, moderate to severe levels of stress during our upbringing and most likely some trauma. And so it's really important that we approach these topics with sensitivity and really try to understand where we're at emotionally, developmentally, and understand what happened to us so that we can be gentle with ourselves and be gentle with our spouse. A healthy marriage is when two people unpack each other's baggage with grace and with love. And, I don't know about you all, but I am a believer, and I believe that Jesus gives us that unconditional love that helps us all heal regardless of where we're at in life. We might not have had those parents that gave us unconditional love, but we can definitely turn to Him for that unconditional love and most definitely experience the healing of His power. And so I want to encourage you, again, approach this topic gently and remember, have grace, show love and compassion. And if it's hard for you to get there, then I strongly encourage you to work on getting there, because it's a very fulfilling and peaceful place to be in. And so I hope you have a great day. Take care. God bless.